come from Earth, a planet of outlaws.
My name is Peter Quill.
There's one other name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
Who?
Well, Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys?
Well, I bet you guys missed me. Yes, I'm getting bogged down with all those, stuff just coming out just left and right. Trying to do both movies and video games can be a bit challenging. But without further ado, you clicked on the Guardians of the Galaxy review. Didn't have time to write this one, so I'm just gonna do an audio version. Woo! Oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably the blockbuster, summer blockbuster we've all been waiting for. Planet of the Apes was awesome. Don't get me wrong. But can you name another one that was really great? I didn't hate Transformers as much as some of you people, and it's really kind of getting shady where the hell the summer blockbuster begins, because if you almost start asking me, I'd almost start saying it starts when you get your first big hit, like Captain America would have been the start of it. But technically I want to say it starts when summer starts, which really we haven't had much movies that were just a spectacle to see, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is something to see in theaters. It is a beautiful movie. This thing, I watched it in 3D, and it actually made me jump. This never happens in 3D, whenever I see a movie in 3D, but this one, something threw out the screen, I was like, oh shit, and I was like, motherfucker, they actually got me. I mean, it is a beautiful sci-fi, I wouldn't say, just sci-fi, space opera kind of thing going on there. Sort of space opera. But without further ado, let me just get into the, I'm Brandon, you're on the Bloody Screen Podcast, just get that bullshit out of the way. If you like what I do, please let me know. Well, let me know about the reviews, what I can improve on, all that shit. I'd love to know. But, yes. Anyways, back to the movie. I always forget to do that stupid shit anyways, so let's get into this. The story is mainly about Star-Lord, or as he's known in the movie as, Peter Quill. So, the movie's mostly about him. Yeah, they showed Gamora and Groot and Rocket and all that crap. But, the story really is focused around, Star-Lord. This movie starts out, fucking depressing, too. I got to the point in the beginning of the movie, I almost wanted to go up and just start crying at the theater, just start trying to hug the screen and just bawling my eyes out. I mean, it was sad. I'm just like, what? Whoa! Trailers, you didn't say this is going to be fucking depressing. And then it kicks into the funny. There's only one depressing scene that's in the very beginning, so be warned. You might tear up, unless you're some heartless robot from the future, 20XX. Then yeah. But, so, you get to see where, why this human's in space. Even though they didn't even have to make him from Earth. I don't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy, their backstory, because I've never read the comic. But you get to see their backstory. They try to show you why Peter Quill would be, in space, and he gets abducted, and they don't really tell you for a while what's going on, why he was ever abducted in the first place. They try to say, it's because they were considering about eating you. But, so, this, you get to see this band of outlaws, essentially, just defend this planet known as, the Nebula, or some, I don't know, some made-up shit that's in the comics that I've never heard of, and then I've seen the character who, who's from there and all that, because he's in the original Sin run right now, but I fucking forget it. Nova. I think it's Nova, yeah. But anyways, this evil race of assholes, very similar to, the guys that were from the Thor plot, but their species made a deal with, the Nova people, and they're like, oh, we won't do anything, but there's one Ronin who's basically, I don't know, they don't really specify his age, but I don't know if he's a lord or prince. He's just some big, bad motherfucker who wears a lot of eye makeup, a lot. And he's made a deal with Thanos to get him this orb I won't even spoil that. Give him this orb to help him destroy the planet Nova and then take down the Empire and all that shit. The villain is so fucking pathetic, it's not even real. Like, it's just, like, you know, he's just generic as fuck. You're just, don't care. But the story is around the Guardians, who are very interesting, very fun characters. You got, you know, Peter Quill, who's this, you know, he's the sarcastic, Nathan Drake-like outlaw. He's a fun guy to watch. He's constantly making you laugh. His love for the 80s music, I can totally dig. Yeah, he's cocky, he's a ladies' man, he is just, you know, shit. You know, he's the guy that every guy just like, yes. Then you got Gamora, who's this, you know, this green bitch, you know, from Star Trek, and she's like an assassin, I guess is what they're trying to say, but basically she uses swords and very flexible. She's a good fighter, but overall kind of just that, you know, kind of generic character. You got Drax. He's just a big dude. You got Groot, goddamn tree, and then you got Rocket, a homicidal raccoon, which is what you gotta appreciate about Marvel, is how they didn't try to make that into something else, you know? Back when Fox had some of the Marvel properties, like with, what was it, Galactus, instead of making him a big dude in a purple suit, they're like, no, we have to make him a cloud. I love what Marvel's doing right now and how Disney, you know, Disney Marvel, whatever the hell you're gonna call them, Disney Marvel, they're just like, fuck it, we'll just have him being a talking raccoon. I mean, we'll just, you know, is it really, I mean, we have a world where aliens and, you know, guys with giant hammers and, you know, all this weird mythical shit exists anyways. Why not just fucking have a raccoon? Fuck it. Alright, but yeah, basically they're trying to, they're thieves with a cause, essentially, is what they are. They're trying to be like, no, we gotta do the right thing. We don't want to do the right thing because we might die, and that kind of goes against what we want to do. And the circumstances they're under are not only funny, but they're just fantastic. And you can actually see why these people become friends and all that. The only problem I have with this movie is they try to add this love story between Star-Lord and Gamora. And, like I said, don't know the comics. Maybe they do. But it seemed kind of shoehorned in. They make jokes about it, and they don't really officially like, oh, we gotta make love and all. No, they don't do that. But they're really hinting at it like a lot, just so the characters apparently have some. It was just weird. Yeah. So the overall story, it's a fun movie. Like the plot will keep you interested the entire time. Like, there's no slow parts. This movie's constantly moving, but not to the point where it's, like, paced weird, where you're just like, hey, whoa, you guys are, you know, it wasn't like Hercules, which wasn't paced right, where it just kept moving, and you're just like, whoa, I'm not understanding why this character's doing this, or what's going on here, or why this guy all of a sudden shows up. This movie just keeps moving at a good pace. It's, James Gunn, he does a good job with it. James Gunn is the director, the guy who made Super, his one really only good movie, in my opinion. Because, I mean, talk about his other works of Movie 43 and Scooby-Doo. This is the last guy I would have thought, like, yes, make a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I would have thought, like, hey, dude, maybe you should just try to handle, like, I don't know, simplest things, like Scooby-Doo. Like, you couldn't even handle that. You're going to be handed Guardians of the Galaxy, the property people know even less about. He does a great job. My one problem with what he did is he put himself in the film. Yeah, he puts himself in the film for fucking whatever goddamn reason. No, he doesn't. I'm sorry. I just now looked at the thing and no, I think that's his son or something that's in this film. Either way, it looked a lot like him. That's why I really, okay. Alright, yeah, no, he's not in the film, but no, he does a fine job with it. Yeah, he really made this into an epic sci-fi adventure. Something I hadn't seen, well, I saw it last year with, Elysium, but, you know, it's something I would dig, a yearly great sci-fi adventure, and this is up for it. This took the cake with me. I mean, like, honestly, everyone's really talking about Star Wars and shit. I'm like, well, we don't really need to have Star Wars. I mean, this one's pretty fucking close to it. You know, I mean, if they just made this into a great trilogy, I can replace Star Wars for me. It really could. But yeah. The cast, however, like you got Chris Pratt as Peter Quill. He's starting to become big, and from this being the first movie I've seen him really be the lead role in, I could see more of him. I really could. I could go for seeing some more of Chris Pratt because that dude is hilarious, and being that apparently I never watched Parks and Rec, but apparently he's pretty good in that too. I dug his character. You really get a feel for his character. Being that his character's the main character, you really get to see, you kind of fall into his shoes a little bit. You can be like, I understand his motives. I understand that he is just some outlaw. He is our, like I said, Nathan Drake type of character. He's fantastic in the movie. You just enjoy having him on the screen. You got Zoe Zanadal, or whatever. Basically, the chick who does, how many comics? I think she's only done a couple. Basically, the chick that's been in a lot of nerd properties, Star Trek, The Losers. She's really trying to get herself out there as like the she-action hero type thing, but honestly, it's the same thing everyone's been saying. I could see her as the limber fighter who's just, she's quick. I can understand that, but like what she was trying to be in The Losers, I was just kind of like, I don't know. She's Gamora. She's a little boring in my opinion. Gamora really isn't that, she's not, whoa, she has a real deep story. Yeah, she's like the daughter of Thanos, like adoptive daughter of Thanos, which you do get to see Thanos, but you don't get to see him do anything. So, everyone's like, ooh. And I know Thanos from the comics, but still just kind of like, it's the first scene of him, or technically our second, but still, it's we'll get to him. You got Dave Bautista. Wrestling fans would know this guy. He's, Bautista. This guy's Drax. He's just kind of, they did more with his character than I thought they would. I mean, they have fun with him by making him, apparently not be able to understand, metaphors. So everything is literal with him. And I can dig that, as an alien species that would never understand metaphors. They do that with a good running gag there, and it's kind of funny. But for the most part, his character, they got two powerhouses, him and Groot, which is Vin Diesel, who has the easiest fucking job in the whole movie because the entire movie all he says is, I am Groot. That's all he has to say. He has the easiest fucking job. He got paid probably a lot of money just to say, I am Groot. Hell, if they made him say it each time he said it, would still be worth the money. And then Bradley Cooper plays Rocket, who's just, who doesn't like Rocket Raccoon? I mean, he brings kind of almost like a Brooklyn kind of thing going to him, like, a little bit there, here and there, you can kind of sense it. He's not like an Australian version or whatever, he's just regular, almost his regular voice, but yeah, this homicidal raccoon who's just like, he's awesome. He's always been one of my favorites from, just when the little bits I've seen of Guardians, Rocket Raccoon's always been one of my favorites. And then last one I'm going to mention is Lee Pace as Ronan, the villain. He is a lot like all the other evil princes that want to destroy the world. Like in Thor, he's much like that evil character. Thor the Dark World, he's much like in Hellboy 2. He's not different. He's very your palette swapped villain. And when he gets destroyed, you're just kind of like, okay, whatever. He was never really a threat. And I have heard people bitch about this movie one thing so far, and that is, well, how can we get invested in the characters if none of them are going to die? And my first argument against this whole, people's problem with these superhero movies and these Marvel movies is, how can we care about these characters if they're not going to be in any considerable danger? And I say, it's not for you to really be like, oh shit, is Peter Quill going to die in this movie? You shouldn't expect that from Guardians of the Galaxy. You should expect them to introduce these fun characters. You should expect to see It's not like you watched, people who watched A New Hope sitting there thinking like, I bet Luke's gonna die at the end of this. Like, no! I mean, Jesus H. Christ. You people really just, not everything has to be fucking dark and brooding, and not everything needs to be, let the movies just play out how they are. I mean, if you want characters being killed off left and right, fucking watch Game of Thrones. You don't know who the hell's gonna die next. If you want characters that are, you want a fun, if you want something that's not so dramatic, something that's just gonna give you a good, fun adventure, essentially, a fun space adventure, you see this movie. You don't need to see it for, like, oh, I wonder if Gamora's next. Like, fuck you. Seriously. No. God. That shit really kind of annoys me that when people just they find the littlest shit to nitpick. This movie is great. You know, I understand some people love to be outside I'm going to point out these flaws. Like, yeah, good for you. Good for you are able to nitpick this movie to fucking death. I mean, yeah, I have my problems with the villain. I think the villain was really weak. I think all the villains in this movie are weak as hell. In both, like, you get to see him kick, Drax's ass, but, that's besides the point. That's all you get to see. The main villain really doesn't do shit. And, yeah, that's my biggest problem with it. But otherwise, it's very well written, very well directed. It's a beautiful fucking movie to watch. There's hardly anything wrong with this movie. It's paced perfectly. It's a funny movie. It had me laughing more times than half the comedies I see. So, it's really just a fantastic thrill ride that, is well worth your theater money. Even worth seeing in 3D. And that is something I don't say fucking often, because honestly 3D gives me a headache half the time. And not to deny, this movie gave me a headache, but it's still one of those things where it was fun. It was a great movie to watch. Now, did it have some flaws in, like, how science works and shit? Yeah. But, besides that, who gives a shit? It's a sci-fi movie. I feel like I've been talking forever, so I'm going to give this a good solid 4.5 out of 5. I mean, it almost is a perfect movie. This is something you need to see in theaters. Like I say, if it just would have had a really strong villain, one where you're just like, oh, either a villain you love to hate or a villain you just hate because he's such a bastard. Instead, they have this guy who's just like, fuck him. And, for, get a 5 out of 5, you gotta be perfect, sorry. Yeah, but it's still just such a fucking amazing movie. It's such an amazing experience. And honestly, if you see it in 3D and IMAX, it'll blow you away. Just visuals and sound. And like I say, if you're into 80s music, you'll just get a kick out of all the playlists. 80s pop, I should say. Yeah, this is well worth seeing again, honestly. Agree with me, disagree, people. I'd love to hear from you. Just let me know in the comments section of wherever the hell you're listening to this. But, yeah. God damn, this movie's great. So, that is it, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.